coming off week, final home game, senior day against EKU this week. Just open us up.
Yeah, it was good to have an open week. We had a lot of guys, I think, in the second half of the last game. There were probably 7 or 8 guys defensively that were out, and a lot of guys, some guys were playing that weren't even on the travel squad, and they performed pretty well. But we were banged up, and the off week helped get some of them back, probably not all of them back. But it was a good off week. Coaches had a chance to go recruit a little bit, get some fundamentals, have some fun with the young guys on the team, and get our guys geared up for the stretch run in the last 2 games. So it's very important for this game, obviously, from in the conference, but even more so from the senior standpoint. It's their last home game. We got 11 seniors, players. We got a couple managers and trainers that it's their last home game, and I like making a big deal out of it. I've told the seniors that the greatest honor that I feel that a college football player can have is completing their senior year at their school. And for guys to look around, especially nowadays, and look when they came in and how many guys made it through their 4 or 5 years. Nowadays, hardly anybody, right, because of the transfer portal. But we've got guys that have been through here 4 or 5 years. A couple have been here a couple years, and I'm really proud of this senior group. So we're going to kind of honor them in our own way on Thursday, Friday, and then, of course, Saturday before the game as well.
What did this senior group do to help you, I guess?
Yeah, the transition.
This first team?
That's a good question. It's always the hardest. Anytime you got a new staff come in, it's an adjustment for everybody, for all the players. But probably it's the hardest for the seniors because especially the ones that have been here, because they've gone through. They may have had some position coaches changes and all that, but it's tough when you have a new staff coming in and they've only got 1 year to learn the system, to learn how we want to do things. And that's why I'm so proud of this group, because it's not whether a new staff come in, it's good at this or good at that, but it's different. It's always going to be different, from different personalities and different ways you call schemes and all that. And they had an outstanding staff before we were here. And I think we've got a really good staff, and our players, in particular our seniors, I think really bought in and helped us in the transition and how we do things and how we want to build our program. And I'm really pleased with their effort, their attitude, and we've gotten really good leadership out of them. It's a small class, but it's a good group of guys, and I feel confident saying that these, not just the 11 players, but the managers, a couple student coaches, trainers, every one of them is going to have success in whatever they do because the type of people they are. So I was blessed, we were blessed to inherit them. The previous staff that brought, a couple of them we brought in, but most of them the previous staff brought in, and they brought in some good ones.
In particular, Tay and Zion, what have they meant to this first team?
Yeah, I mean, Zion, from the position he plays at quarterback, you got to be a leader just by the position you play. And same with Tay playing middle linebacker, but Zion has done a great job. When he's been healthy, he's played outstanding football. He's learned about as well as we could possibly hoped, and really proud of the way he's played some good football. But he's also battled through some injuries and has had a great attitude. So he's been a lot of fun to coach. And then Tay Tullis, I don't mind telling you, in just one short year or less than a year we've had him, he's been as good a senior leader that I've ever had. And I'm talking about for a guy that's only been here with us for a few months. Every day, if you ask anybody in our program, particularly on defense, who's the guy that's kind of leading the way for you, Tay will be the first name that probably comes up. That's how valuable he's been for our defense, how valuable he's been to our program. And I say that without reservation, that he's been not a good leader, but a great leader for us, particularly in this transition. So really proud of him.
I know when mentioning Tay, he said before the season he really appreciated how much faith the current staff was showing in him. When did you first notice him as somebody who's just kind of rising above the rest?
Right in spring practice, when we did our winter workouts, you kind of make it. It's always a little bit, as I said, it's a little bit of adjustment because some things are done differently, or it's you're not sure. Do these coaches know who we are and what we're all about? And so there's a lot of, I'm sure, anxiety, whatever, with the seniors. because they've just got 1 year to kind of prove themselves not only to a new staff, but also prove themselves at this level. And, I'm always, sometimes I think most coaches try to embrace their first senior class, but I think we're a little bit more, we try to do a little more than that. I don't like people say, well, they're not your guys. Wait, no, as soon as we came here on campus, every one of these guys were my guys. And I was, like I said, obviously we're moving up to Division I, and so there's a whole nother level we got to recruit to, and talent and all that kind of stuff. But from an attitude standpoint, particularly with these 11 guys and Tay and Zion and all these guys, I mean, they took a tough situation and for all of us, and made it better. When our transition, new staff, our transition from moving to FCS to FBS and all that, I couldn't have been more pleased with the way they've adapted to all the stuff we've asked. I mean, facility-wise, we moved from press box, which was okay, to here, which is okay, until all that, and they need to be honored. And there's no playoffs, there's no bowl games for our guys, and so these last 2 games are really important, I'm sure, to them, but it's important for me, for our seniors, to enjoy that experience.
You mentioned at the beginning of the year that you really wanted to give this senior class a championship to go out with. The last 2 games in conference play are the 2 teams right behind you on the standings. Do you think that makes these games mean a little more?
Absolutely, yeah. We're, whatever the ASUN rules are, in our eyes, when everything counts, we're playing for a conference championship in our next 2 games, and we've always taken it 1 week at a time. And I do think I think always your conference games, no matter what conference you're in, have a little bit more meaning. And so they do mean a lot. Our guys understand that. If we can win the next 2 games, we're conference champs, and I think that's a big deal.
You mentioned having some fun with the young guys last week. I know on the last bye week y'all did a scrimmage, I think on Tuesday for a little bit. Did y'all do anything like that this week?
No, we didn't scrimmage, but we did a little a little goal line challenge, a little one-on-one. Everybody, whether you're a lineman or not, you think you could run a goal line fade for the winning touchdown or a slant or something like that. So we matched up some linemen against linemen and had a little one-on-ones. We had some of the freshmen go against each other, and then we topped it off with some of the young coaches, not the old coaches because we'd blow an Achilles tendon or something, but some of the coaches doing some one-on-one stuff in the goal line. And what was nice to see that there was only thing on line was push-ups, right? But the competitiveness, I think, sometimes gets lost in the preparation. And I don't want our guys to ever lose that, that love for competitiveness, and because it's still a game. We take it, as coaches, we take it really seriously, and our players do too, but, it's still a game, and I want our guys enjoying the competitive part of it.
Anyone surprise you?
There were some offensive linemen that maybe kind of looked dumpy and maybe not look like they're very athletic and showed some athleticism. I mean, some ball skills and all that. I'm not going to say who they are because then you'll say, well, he must think he's dumpy. But if you looked at a guy and said, this guy probably has no chance to run a route or catch a ball, and they shocked me. So that was good. There's some athletes in those big bodies. I think I can say that.
How invested do the players get when they see the coaches do stuff like that?
Oh, they love, because they like to talk trash, And the best part about it, I use the young coaches who actually were talking trash to each other before they were called out. Nobody knew who was getting called out, but I had heard rumors that this coach was calling out this coach, and it's forever on tape. And obviously, the one that lost has pictures put up on certain of the meeting rooms so they can remind him that he got beat. I'm not going to tell you who he is, but there's pictures, there's evidence, there's video evidence and pictures. But they had a good time with that. And the season is gone. Sometimes you get to this point in the year, it's like, golly, it's a grind. And it's always a little bit of a grind, but, I think our guys are excited. I know I'm excited for this Saturday. Hopefully have a great crowd, and we've been fortunate with the weather all year, so we'll see what happens.
You've gotten pretty decent crowds this year.
Yeah.
How does that make you
It's
feel?
great. I think football is important. I know we've got really good support. I think it'll continue to grow. I mean, now it's obviously in transition with the one side of the stadium, going to be taken down with construction and all that. And I know there's people that come to watch the band as well, which is great. They're coming. I don't care who they come for as long as they come, and we've had really good support. We haven't played, I don't think we've played our best football game yet. We've had moments where we've played well in all three phases, but for 4 quarters, all 3 phases, our best game is still out there. I'm hoping it comes, in the next 2 weeks. But, it's been, I've enjoyed, getting to learn, I guess that's a good word to put it, everything about what Jack State is in our football program, athletic program, our school. And every week, not just every game, but every week I learn more and more about what we need to do to build the best program in the country. So I'm a lot more knowledgeable now than I was 9 months ago. I'll be more knowledgeable now in 2 weeks and 6 weeks in recruiting where we're at. We got a lot of work to do, but, when you move up, it's a big jump from 1AA to 1A, and, we're getting prepared to make that jump. So, but I'm a lot more knowledgeable, and I thought I had a pretty good idea 9 months ago, whatever it was, but I know more now what we have to do to have success than I did, a few months ago.
Injury-wise, who do you not think you'll get back this week?
Well, I'm not sure about Markel Benton, who's one of our best players on the team, period, let alone defensively. He's a little banged up, and then our top rusher, Anwar Lewis, is banged up. He's going to be limited this week in practice, so we'll see if he's going to be ready to go Saturday. And there's a couple others, but right now I'm most concerned with Markel and Anwar.
What about EKU?
Very athletic, probably playing their best football. I mean, Central Arkansas's got a good football team, and they got after them pretty good. I think they have six Division I Power 5 transfers starting on defense, and 2 more that are backups. So they've got some grown men, some big guys. They're probably one of the best, if not the best, defensive fronts that we have played all year, that we'll play all year. And they're coming off, I think, 3 straight wins. So they're playing really good football. They got a good staff, and they took advantage of the transfer portal and flipped their roster pretty quickly.
Sorry. How do you characterize how Osteen has played it this year? He's started every game, which is something for a
Yeah,
freshman.
Will to start as a young guy in all games, and he's gotten better every game too. I think he's got a great future. Even when he doesn't talk a whole lot, he's not, his emotions don't go up and down. It doesn't seem, but football is important to him, and he's a tough guy. I mean, which obviously Coach Trickett demands out of all of us guys, but he's you can see him getting better, and his confidence growing every week. And again, this is his first year playing, so it's as a starter, it's everybody's first year. But for him, he hadn't played in any system in college, so he's a good football player, and he'll keep getting better.
How did you spend the bye week this last week?
Yeah, you didn't see Raquel's video that she put out there. The nice little, she has one of our best videos. I had my little puppy Rambo. Went outside. I have a TV outside, and watched about 20 other coaches be miserable for about 4 or 5 hours at a time. No, it's funny that those. It's like when we get home, hopefully after a win, or whatever, playing an early game. Those 3 or 4 hours Saturday night are like gold. Well, you can imagine if you have the whole weekend just to watch college football. Some coaches maybe try to get away with it. To me, I love watching college football, and there was some great games on. So I watched from 11 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I was watching games. Of course, and one of them was watching I was proud of myself because I could find ESPN Plus on my thing, on my iPad. So I watched, obviously, the EKU game, too.
Any games in particular stand out that you enjoyed or had thoughts about?
Well, I mean, everybody was probably watching Tennessee, Georgia, right?
Yeah.
And it shows you talk about some talented players in a tremendous atmosphere. I'd heard someone say that the atmosphere at Athens, Georgia wasn't going to be like that loud or whatever, and I think they were off on that mark. I mean, it looked like that was, that atmosphere helped create some issues for a really good football team. all the stuff that's going on in football, whatever, is still, I don't think there's a better or more passionate sport than college football. You know, even with all this other stuff going on that I think is taken away from it a little bit, it's still the best there is out there, in my opinion.
Coach, this weekend is the 30th anniversary of the '92 national championship team. You've talked about the tradition here, and that team's coming back for a reunion this weekend and will be recognized at the game. What does it mean to have those past players and champions?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of pride for every past player in every sport in college that they've had. They've always thought about, you know, their era, whatever. But that era, the '92 team won a national championship, and I mean, they won a lot of games here, and they have a lot of pride, and they should. I mean, to win a national championship winning is hard. Period. It's just hard. But to win a national championship on any level is really special. And so those guys have a lot of pride, and they should. I'm glad that they're invited. We welcome them back anytime. And obviously we're, you know, it's at a different phase now, you know, moving up from Division II to 1AA to 1A. But there were some really good players, some great teams, and I'm sure they'll have a lot of good memories. You know, and everything gets embellished too as they go. I mean, it was like, you know, all of a sudden they won every game by 50 or something like that. But I think when they get back, I know it's funny, a lot of times they don't talk about the games as much as they talk about the experiences, you know, whether it was something at practice or something that the seniors did together or something like that. And that's where I've always said my most important goal as a coach is for every player that played to truly enjoy the experience from the standpoint, if you ask them 10 or 20 years from now, you know, if he would do it all over again at the same place with the same people, and he says yes, then we did our job. And that's hard nowadays, especially with transfer portal and people in their ears. You need to go here, you need to go there. They get, you know, to have our guys to say, I would do it all over again at the same place with the same people, then I think you did your job. And I bet you if you polled a lot of those guys that played in that championship team, if you asked them that question, they'd say, yeah, I'll be right back at Jacksonville, you know, doing it the same place with the same people. Pretty special.
Zion, you got senior day coming up, just 2 games left here. Can you just kind of talk about, open us up by telling me about your feelings going into these last 2 games?
It's kind of big for me, just knowing I've been here for at least 5-6 years. Started here as a freshman, so I knew I wouldn't come in. I mean, I wouldn't be leaving with the guys I came in with, but I knew it would be a couple that would still be here with me. So I just been taking it day by day. I actually looked at Magic or Tullis last week and just kind of reflected back, just looking at the field and like, it's about to be over for us. There's not much more we can do, but win out these 2 games, take it full speed, straight on, straight ahead.
With all the change that went on, you know, from one coaching staff to another, and just what was it like to be a senior leader on this team?
I think it meant a lot to me, just from the standpoint of those guys trusting me, just buying into the situation. I knew if some of the top guys bought into Coach Rich Rod's system, then everybody else would follow the line. So once we all made up our mind that we was going to buy into the system, it was just went on from there.
How tough was it to do that, to buy into something that was completely different?
It was challenging at first because it was a new system. Knowing Coach Rich Rod came from like a FBS, it was way different. Just the weight program, the running, everything was different. But I think everything mattered to everybody. So we really never shied away from learning and understanding what they wanted. So once we understood what they wanted, we just took it upon ourselves to just do everything that we needed to do to make ourselves successful.
Can you describe what it was like meeting Rich Rod for the first time, those first meetings?
It was a little shaky, just because I'm a shy person and I really don't talk too much if I don't know you. But I mean, Coach Rich Rod is one of the coolest coaches I've ever had. Off the field, it's like he has a switch. Once he gets inside those lines, it's just a different person. Everybody gets coached the same, but when we're off the field, you can go talk to him at any time of the day, call him, he'll pick up. He's one of the best coaches I've had.
Did you have any, before you met him and really got to know him, were you nervous or anxious just about what it was going to be like with the new staff?
I don't want to say I was nervous, but I would say I was anxious just because of the fact that I didn't play the year before. So I heard a lot of things about Coach Rich Rod before he got here. They said I would like the offense, I would fit in the offense. So I was eager to kind of get into the offense and learn what I had to do and try and get the job.
Could you describe what your relationship is with Coach Smith? He had a tough job of replacing somebody who's very popular, but you seem to get along with him really well.
Oh, yeah. At first we had Coach D'Angelo going into the spring, and then some things happened, and we ended up with Coach Rod Smith. And I think he's one of the great coaches, too. I think he understands his players. He understands how to communicate, and he's a very hard-working person.
What would it mean to you to win these last 2 games and be able to claim a championship with the rest of the senior class?
I mean, it would mean a lot to me, but not only me, to the 11 seniors that are playing beside me. I think those guys, it would be tremendous to all of us, just because we don't have a chance to go to a championship or a conference championship, but we have an opportunity to seize a moment where we know that we did all our best, and we put everything into the game. We came out on top. Even though we can't win, we win in our minds.
Does it motivate y'all a little bit that the conference said they wouldn't recognize y'all as champions if y'all won all the games?
I mean, we have motivation anyways, but that really didn't motivate us. What motivated us is ourselves. We really didn't let anything the outside things bother us. We just took it one game at a time, and we came out successful, hopefully.
Rich Rod mentioned that at least 2 of the coaches, I think, went against each other in some drills last week.
Yes,
What's that like for y'all as players to kind of watch them and maybe talk a little trash to those guys?
I think it's exciting just to spice up the practice a little bit, just to do something different. Just not be so tense all the time, loosen up, and just have fun with it. So with that being said, I think he wants us to have a little fun, enjoy these 2 weeks that we still have, and still focus on being 1-0 each week.
How have you seen the 2 guys behind you in the quarterback room improve this year?
Just from a mental standpoint and understanding the game, the IQ of the game, those guys are working tremendously hard. Every day we just work to get each other better. Some people have attributes that some others don't. We teach each other. We make sure that we help each other out.
With Tayshawn specifically, I don't know, is there a moment when you think things maybe have started to click or slow down for him a little bit this year?
Most definitely. I think when he gets in there, it's just like the first play jitters, I guess. You just got to get your feet wet, and once he really understands and gets everything under his belt and played a couple games, I feel like he'll be good. He'll be straight on.
Zion, admit it, you're going to miss us next year, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, most definitely going to miss you guys as well as the program.
I kind of have mixed emotions about all of it. It's kind of like a little sad at one point, but it's a lot of excitement because this is a game I've been playing since I was a kid, and it's always fun, whether I'm going to practice or whether I'm suiting up for a game. It's just like very exciting, like especially with being out there with my brothers, having fun, knowing all the work that we've put in through the summer, in the spring, and throughout fall camp. It's just fun to go do the things that we love.
What does it mean to hear Josh say that, you've played maybe as many or more games than anybody else for this school?
It's kind of crazy, like not realizing that I actually played that many games and that it actually passed by that fast. It's all a blink of an eye. It seemed like just yesterday I was a freshman coming in with guys like Zion Webb, Yul Gowdy, Jeremiah Harris, Your Majesty Sanders, and now we're in our final 2 games, 11 more days of this season. Like, it's kind of crazy, but it's really cool that I've played that many games.
I think Zion mentioned that maybe you and him and Magic kind of took a moment and kind of talked about it or looked about it maybe at practice.
Yeah, so after a practice, we were just standing there looking around the stadium, taking in the whole moment, just saying like, God, we were just these young freshmen that came in, curious, not knowing about everything that's going on around here. In the blink of an eye, 6 years has passed and now we're seniors.
Different senior classes have different challenges. You guys went through a whole lot of transition to lead this team. Guys that you played with leaving, new guys, a lot of new guys coming in. What was that like to be a leader on this team?
It's really important because we had several new guys come in, and for us to be the guys that have been here since 2017, like from the beginning, it's just really important that we keep the standard that Coach Rich Rod has in place and just lead the guys because we were the guys that have been around here the longest.
What was it? Do you remember what it was like the first time you met Coach Richard?
Well, the first time I actually met him, it was in a meeting, and it was like I'm like, oh, he's an easygoing coach, like he's cool. And second time, it was when we were on the field. I'm like, this is not the same guy that I met in that meeting. Like, he's a really intense guy, but that's what I really like about him because once he get on the field, he flips his switch, and it's like game time. Like, he's really intense. He hates to lose, and that's the same way I feel. But once he's off the field in his office, he's like a really easygoing guy, a guy that you can talk to about anything, and just a guy that you feel comfortable around.
It seems like that y'all have gotten close to him in a short amount of time, and you know, is that hard to do to really connect with a coach when you only have a year left?
Well, yeah, I honestly wish I had another year, but I feel like it was kind of easy for us to connect with him because he's a genuine guy. He's transparent, and he's going to tell you the truth. And that's what most players want when they come to college or when they're doing anything. You just want the truth, and he's going to be honest with us and tell us the hard truth because the truth is hard sometimes, but we all know that it's going to make us better in the end.
You know, some of the ways he talks about you, it sounds like he's describing a future coach. Is that something that might be in your future?
I consider it, but I want to be an entrepreneur with whatever I do. I mean, finish ball, but possibly, like, I love teaching the things that I know. Like, for the young guys that's coming in, any gyms that I have, anything that I know about how things go around here, I try to pass it on to them so they can have an easier experience than I did.
You mentioned teaching the young guys. Are there any young guys, especially maybe ones that the fans haven't seen play as much this year, that you've seen improve?
That guy, Larry Worth, he's going to be a guy. He has, the past few games, he got more snaps, but he's going to be a dude. I really like his work ethic. I like just his personality and type of guy he is, and he likes to work. Everything that I tell him about, he's going to soak it in and just keep working, keep his head down and keep working.
Now, what would it mean to win these last two games and go out with a championship?
Well, first we have this game Saturday that we have to focus on, but to win these last two games, it'll be really big for us, being that it's everyone's on this team's last opportunity to be ASUN champions. Like, no one will ever have that opportunity again because we're going up to the FBS level. So it'll mean a lot to me as being a senior leader and captain on the team to help lead us to a conference championship.
Does it bother y'all, motivate y'all? Do y'all even think about the fact that the ASUN said they're not going to recognize it?
Not so much because every week the whole thing you want to do is win. And ultimately, if you win all your games by the end of the season, even though they say we can't be ASUN champs, I mean, I think it's kind of obvious who would be the champs.
Well, the school said they'll recognize you,
And
so you get a ring.
that's really important to me that the school is like backing us because the ASUN isn't with us, wanting us to be the ASUN conference champs. If we do, that they'll be behind us, give us a ring, and treat us like the champs that we will be.